Deep Relaxation Clinic. My name is Calliope. I'll be taking care of you this evening. Let me just pop this in the background. Right behind us, just the tiniest bit of light, just to set the ambience a little. Now the very first thing that we're going to do is we're going to start with some manual body relaxation. So I am just going to lightly touch different areas, and I'd like you to just focus on that area and relax it down. Do you mind if I start with your face? Okay, so right here, I'm going to have you focus on your forehead, and I'm going to have you relax this area down. Relax this area down. And the jaw right in here, and here. Relaxing the jaw, letting it unlock, letting it melt down. And then we have the scalp, the head, letting the skin and the muscles just relax, melt down. And the rest of your face here, from the temples to the nose, the mouth, the chin, just letting this all melt down. And the neck, moving down to the chest. And I'm just going to brush your shoulders down, pressing them down, letting all of these areas relax. The abdomen, letting this area loosen, bringing a sense of relaxation to the abdomen. And the arms, letting the arms relax down, letting the hands open, letting the muscles release their tension, and the legs, each leg relaxing down, down to the feet, down to the toes, letting everything melt away. Now I'm going to have you keep your eyes open for this first part. And I'm going to give you some instructions, and I'd like you to just follow them to the best of your ability. The very first thing I want you to do is to just let your eyes drift around the room, not staying in any one place, but instead just skirting over, just sliding over, maybe moving your head around quite a bit as well. And I want you to take note of a few things. What colors do you see? What textures do you see? What shapes do you see? Just looking around and inside of your head. You don't have to say it aloud, but inside your head, just naming these different attributes. We have white, red, beige, black, blue, orange, green, silver. We have rough concrete. We have soft carpet. We have a sort of silky satin, woven fabric, plastic. We have rectangles, circles, squares, triangles. Just looking around the room and seeing these different little attributes. Not staying too long. Just touching upon each little object, just a little touch, and moving on. Now, are there any of these things that particularly stick out at you? Are there any particular colors that you find yourself coming back to? Any shapes, any textures? Anything where your eyes just want to rest on? See if there's anything that you feel like you could just look at for a while. Now, I want you to turn your attention to a different sensory detail. I want you to tune in to sensation. Anything you feel. For example, it could be the breeze in the air touching upon your skin. It could be your hair. It could be your clothing, jewelry perhaps, shoes. What are you feeling? What kind of sensations? Just mentally note them. Find as many as you can. Feel what you feel. Seeing what you're seeing. And then we're going to move into sound. Now, obviously, my voice is likely going to be the loudest thing, or at least the sound that you're most focused on. But what kind of other sounds do you hear? Sounds up close, like maybe you're breathing, maybe the buzz of lamps, maybe television, maybe something outside. What do you hear up close? And then, what can you hear far away? Traffic, maybe. Weather. People. Animals. What's the furthest sound that you can hear? And isn't it something just so wonderful? So incredible that we take for granted. The amount of layers of sound that one can hear concurrently. How many sounds do you think you're hearing at once that your brain can interpret, that you recognize instantly? Now I want you to think about something here. As you're listening to these sounds, does it sound like it is primarily in one ear, the other? Or are you listening to sounds in both ears? Do you have a dominant ear that you focus on? And if you do, can you try to split the sound so that you hear it on both sides simultaneously? It's a little trickier than one might think. Now I'm going to bring you to the sensation of smell. Are there any particular smells that you recognize? The smell of the room, the air. Is there an open window where you can smell the outside? Is there an air freshener, laundry, anything like that? Cooking smells even. And then attending to the sensation of taste. Are there any tastes still lingering on your tongue? And what is it that you can taste? Good. Now, I'm going to have you just settle however you feel called to. However you want to be for a while. If you need to do a little stretch just to get all cozy. And then we're going to do something a little different. I'm going to have you close your eyes. Close the eyes, and I want you to try to picture the room around you. Using your memory, what do you remember about the room? The different objects, the colors, the textures, the shapes. What was in this corner? What was the color of the wall? What did the carpet or the floor look like? Try to see if you can conjure up as much detail about the room you're in as possible. Trying to fill it up with whatever you remember is in the room. Just keeping your eyes closed. Do you remember what the light looked like? Where it was coming from? And what it looked like on different objects? Can you remember the shadows? Do you remember which areas were darker than others? want you to tune back in to the sensation of touch. And I want you to see if maybe it's a little easier to tune in to this sensation. What is it that you can feel? Your clothing, your skin touching itself, a little bit of wind, of airflow. What can you feel? Is it easier with your eyes closed? And what about sounds? Are sounds easier to hear? And what kind of sounds do you notice now? The ones that are the loudest, the ones that are the quietest, the ones up close, the ones far away. And then what about any smells? Do you notice anything different? Anything at all? How about taste? Now, I'm going to have you keep your eyes closed. And I am going to put on a set of headphones. There's going to be a track that plays over these headphones. And I just want you to follow those instructions as best as you can. So I'm going to put these on your head. How does that feel? Is that comfortable? Okay, let me just adjust a little bit. There. How about that? Better. Excellent. Let me know if I need to adjust them further. And we're going to have that track play shortly. Just listen and follow the instructions. Take a deep breath in and let it out. Just letting any lingering tension melt away from the body. Letting every muscle, every joint relax, sink down into the surface beneath you. Take another deep breath, letting yourself melt down even just a little bit more. Deep breath in and out. I'm going to guide your attention throughout different parts of your body. I want you to direct your attention to the place that I call out, but do not focus so hard that it keeps you from relaxing. We are merely just touching upon each place and not so much lingering. We will touch on each place, check in to make sure that it is relaxed, that we've released the tension, and then move on to the next place. And we're going to start very simply at the big toe of your right foot. I want you to just direct your attention to the big toe of your right foot, feeling all the sensations in that particular toe, and seeing if we can relax it just a little bit further. And then moving on to the second toe. Can we relax this just a bit further? Letting the toes just gently curl. And the third toe. And the fourth. And the fifth. Now can we move to the big toe of your left foot now? Checking in, feeling sensations, and letting it relax. Letting everything loosen. And the second toe, the third, the fourth, the fifth, and now to the sole of the right foot. The sole of the right foot, feeling the area and letting it relax. The sole of the left foot, top of the right foot, top of the left foot, the right ankle, making sure the joint is soft, the left ankle, coming up to the right calf, feeling where it meets the surface underneath you. The right shin, the left calf, the left shin, the back of the right knee, front of the right knee, letting this area just melt down. The back of the left knee, and the front of the left knee, letting everything loosen and relax. The front of the right thigh, the back of the right thigh, and deep into the thigh. Can you imagine feeling the thigh from the inside out? The bone, the muscles, the volume, mentally mapping out its dimensions and letting it relax. And the left thigh, the back of the left thigh, the front, and sensing deep into the thigh, the bone, the muscles, the volume, mentally mapping, mentally loosening, mentally relaxing each part. And then up to the right hip joint. Feeling any tension in the hip joint just fade away, just dissipate. And the left hip joint, the ball of the joint, the front, the back, deep in the hip joint, just letting that relax. And then the lower abdomen, releasing any guarding, any tension, letting go. And the right side of the waist, left side of the waist, meeting in the middle, to the upper abdomen, tracing the space from the bottom of the rib cage to the iliac crest, letting this whole area grow soft, relaxed, free from tension, all attachments just melting. And then moving to the right side of the rib cage, mentally mapping each rib. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And the left side of the rib cage, and each rib. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12. And the sternum, the bony plate in the middle of the chest, letting any tension here soften, feeling the heart underneath beat slowly, regularly. Take a moment to feel the heartbeat. Just notice its cadence. Notice its rhythm. Nice and slow, relaxed. And then moving up to the right side of the chest, underneath the clavicle, and then the left side of the chest, the right clavicle, the left clavicle, and then moving on to the right shoulder, the joint just relaxing in position, feeling deep inside the joint, mentally mapping from within. And taking that and bringing it down to the upper arm. Letting the upper arm just relax. And then the elbow. Letting this joint stay loose and relaxed. The lower arm. The wrist, the back of the hand, palm of the hand, and each finger, the thumb, first finger, second finger, third finger, fourth finger, and then taking that back up, coming to the palm of the hand, back of the hand, the wrist, lower arm, elbow, upper arm, shoulder, right collarbone, left collarbone, and deep into the left shoulder joint, letting the joint and the surrounding muscles relax, all the little rotator cuff muscles relax, mentally mapping the joint, and then bring that down to the left upper arm, the elbow, allowing the joint to relax, the lower arm, wrist, back of the hand, palm of the hand, and each finger, the thumb, the first finger, second finger, third finger, fourth finger, and then bringing that down to the palm of the hand, the back of the hand, wrist, lower arm, elbow, upper arm, shoulder joint, the left collarbone, and then at the little hollow of the throat, the space between the clavicles, that little divot, and then traveling up the neck, feeling the front of the throat, the cervical vertebrae, the back of the neck, and then coming down to the right scapula and the left scapula, coming into the middle from the cervical vertebrae to the upper to mid back with our thoracic vertebrae, then down to our lower back with the lumbar vertebrae, the sacrum, the tailbone, and we'll come back up to the right side of the back, feeling any muscles and fascia here relax down, melt down, and move to the left side of the back. Muscles, fascia, any knots melting away, just relaxing down. Coming back up to the back of the neck, and where the neck meets the head, the back of the head, top of the head, the forehead, coming down to the right temple, left temple, the right eyebrow, left eyebrow, the right eye, eyelid, eyelashes, left eye, eyelid, eyelashes, the right cheekbone, left cheekbone, the right ear, and inside the right ear, deep inside, the left ear, deep inside the left ear, and down to the right side of the jaw, to the left side of the jaw, the nose, tip of the nose, the space between the nose and mouth, the upper lip, lower lip, the chin, the neck, down to the center of the chest, coming back to the heart, coming back to just observing the pattern of its beating, the sensation of your lungs filling with air, the sensation of letting all of the air go. I want you to direct your attention to your breath, and we're going to count down from 20, with each inhale and each exhale being one cycle each. So we'll breathe in for 20, breathe out for 20, breathe in for 19, breathe out for 19, so on and so forth. In for 18, out for 18, and just continue counting in your head until you reach 0. In, out, Just let that count fall away. Just coming back to your natural state of breathing. And I'm going to have you, as best as you can, imagine a sort of scenery. And if you do not have the ability to visualize very well or at all, then you might think about the sensations that one would experience if they were in this scene. It's a bright spring day, one of the first where it's comfortable enough to be outside without a jacket. There's still a very slight chill in the breeze. Not so much to make you cold, but just enough to raise the hairs on your arms. The air is fresh, humid, damp with the smell of new vegetation, of water, of stone, of soil. You are walking through a grassy field, and to your side you see a thin little creek cutting through the landscape. Pieces of yellow limestone rocks poke up from the water, and ever so often you see little bubbles through the water as it curves, as it runs right through the soil and stone. Tiny little pebbles of all colors, little bits of glass that have been softened by the flow of water, litter the bottom of this creek bed. How many colors can you see? Do you see the reds, the blues, grays, greens, yellows? How about purple? All these different colors at the bottom of the creek bed. You hear the burbling of the water. You can feel just that little bit of coolness come off of the flow of water. The breeze picks it up and you can smell the freshness of it. Crystal clear as it carves through the soil. You can smell the mud, a little bit of leaf rot from the previous winter, the bright green of the new blades of grass, very delicate, very tender yet. Bird calls throughout the field, the occasional of the wind through the tall, dry grasses. There's not a cloud in the sky. It's just gently warm, quiet, safe, easy to be, easy to exist, easy to just take a breath. It's easy to be anything you want to be here. Anything you need to be here. There's no one watching. It's just you, this field, the sun, and the water. Easy, restful, relaxing. Take a deep breath in, tasting the sweet freshness of foliage, water, springtime, and out. Breathe in, feeling the breeze run through your fingers, through your hair, touching your skin, and out. Breathe in, feeling the solidness of the ground underneath your feet, the stone, the little pebbles, the grass. Breathe out. Take another long look around, just picking up little tiny details. What colors do you see? Do you see any particular animals? Anything that catches your interest? And then we're going to let this scene go and come back to the edges of the body. Just mentally mapping the outline of the feet, the legs, the arms, the torso, and the head. Feeling where the air touches the skin, anything underneath us meets our body. And then I'm going to have you focus on your toes. And I want you to just let them wake up. And you might wiggle them a little bit. Bring back that sensation. And then the fingers, you could give them a little wiggle. Bringing yourself back to the here and now. And whenever you're ready, you may open your eyes if you wish. You're more than welcome to keep them closed if you want to stay just a little longer. Keep your eyes closed if you wish. If you are all finished with this spot of relaxation, you're more than welcome to open them. It's whatever works for you. And that will conclude our deep relaxation session here at the Deep Relaxation Clinic. I hope you have a whale of a day and a good rest of your night. Thank you. Bye now. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And a big thank you to my patrons on Patreon, without which I wouldn't be able to make these videos. If you'd like to help support the channel, I have a link to my Patreon in the description box below. We have a lot of perks like early access to videos, ad-free access to those videos. We have Patreon exclusive videos and audio downloads of all my content. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you have a whale of a day and a good rest of your night.